Knapp and Tanya Bansimer from the Center of Prevention will be here to accept. I know Tanya's here. Is Elise here as well? We got a whole, no Elise, but a whole group of people. Come on up, students, and Deputy Director Space will be reading the proclamation. Thank you guys for coming. You guys gonna do a speech after you're done? No.
Whereas tobacco is still the #1 leading cause of preventable deaths in the U.S. and across the globe, and whereas the tobacco industry markets a wide range of addictive and dangerous products that has resulted in the increase in youth e-cigarette use, and whereas youth tobacco rates are at a 20-year high in the U.S. due to the worsening youth e-cigarette epidemic, reversing the progress that had been made toward reducing tobacco use, and whereas Takedown Tobacco is the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids signature platform for empowering people to stand up and speak out against the tobacco industry's tactics to deceive youth, and whereas the Takedown Tobacco National Day of Action is a day of activism where communities across the world rally together against the tobacco industry, reflecting on how far they have come and how far they still need to go to create the first tobacco-free generation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sussex County Board of County Commissioners does hereby proclaim April 1st, 2025 is Takedown Tobacco National Day of Action, and together with the Center for Prevention and Counseling, Tobacco Free for a Healthy New Jersey, and Incorruptible U.S. recognizes that tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, contain nicotine and other harmful substances that can cause lasting health effects. And be it further resolved that the Board of County Commissioners encourages all Sussex County residents to unite in raising awareness about tobacco use in their communities and encouraging all youth to stay tobacco-free. By order of the County Commissioners, Chris Carney, Commissioner Director, Jill Space, Deputy Director, Jack DeGroot, Commissioner, William Hayden, Commissioner, and Alan Henderson, Commissioner. Thank you. Say a few words.
I am Justice, and we do a lot in our school to prevent teens from using substances that they shouldn't be, and we've helped a lot of kids so far.
Hi, I'm Marissa, and we would just like to say thank you for accepting our proclamation.
I'm Jillian, and we just really appreciate the recognition because we really do a lot, and it's really great to see that it's being noticed.
I'm Ravi. We just want to say thank you from Kidditini and Incorruptible Us. We are really helping our school and our community. Thank you for this proclamation.
Thank you for what you guys do.
I was looking for you. Guys, thank you.
Okay, number 7 is public hearing. There is none. Before we hit number 8, which is a public session from the floor on agenda topics, this will go for this public comment and the one next, our next public session that is not agenda topics, but I feel like at our last meeting, people didn't quite understand what the commissioners do. So this is a statement on behalf of all the commissioners. We collaboratively put this together as a whole. So I want to read this to you so maybe some people understand what we do here at the county. The commissioners are the legislative body of Sussex County. We are responsible for adopting a budget and approving the spending of funds accordingly. We also set policies for the operations of the county's 4 main departments: Department of Central and Shared Services, Department of Engineering and Planning, Department of Finance and Library Services, and the Department of Health and Human Services. plus 12 divisions and a number of boards, commissions, authorities, and committees. Members of the board also serve on boards of School Estimate for the Sussex County Technical School and the Sussex County Community College. County government also addresses such regional issues as strategic growth, solid waste disposal, water quality, the maintenance of county roads and bridges, farmland preservation, and open space in the county library system. As a board, we are always diligently monitoring all changes at the federal level that could impact Sussex County. With that being said, I would like to get, well, let me read the public session first. This public session is for those wishing to make a comment of 3 minutes or less regarding agenda topics only. Please line up at the microphone, state your name, municipality, and agenda topic for the record. Take a motion to open the floor for public comment.
So moved.
Commissioner Hayden?
Second.
Commissioner Henderson, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain. The floor is open. Agenda topics only, please.
Good evening, Ken Collins from Andover Township. Here to talk about the budget. I've been coming here year after year since before the turn of the century, actually, trying to impress upon the people that sit up there, your predecessors and now you, that what the county needs is to figure out how to reduce the property tax burden for the property taxpayer, for the homeowners, okay? And I never see it happening. And whatever budget you're gonna present here tonight, that's great, that's wonderful. I know you worked hard at it. Thank you for working hard at it and trying to keep the numbers down. But I'm sure there's another tax increase in there for the property tax or for the homeowners. And that's not what we need. Year after year after year after year, the taxes go up. My property taxes, since I bought my house before the turn of the century, have more than doubled. Okay? And I'm sure if you've been here that long, yours probably have too. And it's absurd. And what we need is for you guys to figure out how to bring that burden down. You need to bring more business in, get more ratables in, and so you can reduce the burden on the average homeowner, on the working man here in this county, and show that you care. You know, I've been trying to get you guys to show that you care for over 25 years, and year after year, the taxes just go up, and you just raise our taxes, and you present a budget, and I kept it underneath a raise of X amount. Well, nobody really cares, because you're raising our taxes. They need to go down. You need to figure out how to spend less money. You got appropriations in here. We're gonna spend, I don't know how many millions of dollars tonight on equipment and whatever. You know, you need to figure out how to bring those numbers down and spend less money. This county, like I said last time I was here, maybe should consider figuring out how to create some sort of a council that's similar to Doge that can cut the fat out of the county government and figure out how to get ratables in here and figure out how to get businesses to come into this county and stay and pay some taxes so that the people here don't have such a high burden, because they're all moving out year after year. The people who live here are moving out and selling their houses. And it's all because of this tax burden. And you guys are the ones who have to do something about it. There's nobody else except the people in Trenton. And you know a bunch of them that can do something about it. And it's up to you guys. You're the bottom line. And the budget tonight is the bottom line. If you don't start bringing this budget down instead of increasing it year after year, you're just gonna keep on increasing our taxes. And all these people need lower property taxes. Thanks.
Thank you. Director, can I comment, please?
You sure can.
Thank you. I usually don't like to comment during, but I do agree our taxes need to come down. And most of our taxes come from our school taxes, which most of us know here. So we don't have control over that. And the county tax rate, what is the county tax rate, Elka? Yes. So that's all we can control, and honestly, we could have cut your taxes. We could cut just the county portion, but we would be cutting back services. And I'm pretty sure that the majority of the people in this room don't want to see us cut the services to the seniors. We could have cut Tech, Sussex Tech, and said, sorry, you guys are on your own. But we didn't. We increased them by 8.85%. Because we're not going to take it from our children, that they don't deserve to suffer. So that's what I want to say. And as for economic development, I 100% agree with you. And I sit on the Economic Development Partnership Committee, and we are trying to bring positive ratables into Sussex County. So, thank you.
Mary Turk, Wantage Township. I was commented at the last meeting on the telecommuting policy, and I just want to reiterate and make a comment again. Employees choose to work for the county, not for financial advancement, but for the promise of work-life balance and improved quality of life and meaningful career opportunities. This balance is critical to retaining dedicated employees who are committed to public service. As teleworking has been eliminated, or will be so this evening, we request the board consider implementing alternative options for flexible hours, 4 10-hour days, 9 9-hour days, summer hours, etc. Flexible schedules enhance productivity and job morale and may even attract a broader talent pool for employment. It can also reduce operating costs to the county. In the end, it is about the county maintaining a workforce that feels valued, engaged, and motivated to serve the community effectively. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Amanda Norman, Wantage Township. I'm also here to speak about telecommute policy. I'm here to respectfully express my concern regarding the removal of the telecommute policy. While I understand the reasons behind this decision, I strongly believe that telecommuting should continue as an option for employees due to the significant benefits it offers both to individuals and the organization as a whole. First, telecommuting fosters a flexible work environment, allowing employees to balance their professional and personal lives more effectively. This flexibility can result in increased job satisfaction, higher employee morale, and a better retention rate. Many employees find that working remotely reduces stress and eliminates time and costs associated with commuting, which contributes to a more focused and productive workday. Furthermore, it allows employees to work in an environment where they feel most comfortable, which can enhance their overall performance and creativity. Additionally, if the goal is to optimize work schedules without offering telecommuting, I suggest considering alternatives such as adopting a 4-day work week, where employees would work 4 10-hour days instead of 5 8-hour days. This schedule not only provides an extended weekend for personal time or rest, but it can also lead to greater efficiency and focus during work hours, as employees tend to maximize productivity knowing they have fewer days to accomplish tasks. This type of arrangement could provide similar benefits to telecommuting while addressing the organization's goal of maintaining operational efficiency. This type of arrangement could provide similar benefits to telecommuting while addressing the county's goal of maintaining operational efficiency. Telecommuting and flexible schedules can reduce burnout, improve employee well-being, and enhance long-term organization performance. I urge you to reconsider removing the telecommute policy and to explore these non-monetary benefits as viable alternatives that can benefit both employee and the county. Thank you for considering my thoughts.
I just have a question for you, just to clarify. Teleworking or telecommuting?
Telecommuting.
Teleworking,
Telecommuting.
commuting.
Commuting.
So what is that compared to teleworking?
It's essentially the same. So I work in engineering, and my department were allowed to telecommute, so I'd essentially perform
I just
the same
never heard it
task.
that way, that's why
Oh,
I just wanted to make sure it
sorry.
was the same thing.
No,
I just
it's the
never heard of
same
telecommute, I thought it was telework. Okay,
Essentially the same. It is.
understood, good enough, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea Anglima from the Township of Andover. I'm here also regarding Resolution C, establishing amendments to various policies set forth in the Sussex County Employee Handbook regarding the elimination of the current telework policy. Thank you for allowing me to address this issue. You requested our support at the polls during election year. Now we are requesting your support regarding the telework policy. I have personally spoken to so many employees who are fearful to voice their desire for telework to the Sussex County Commissioners, but they should not be afraid. You are voted into these 5 seats by the residents of the county because we have found you to be fair, honest, and passionate about this county and value its employees. We view you not as adversaries, but rather as allies who will be open and willing to hear our request for a fair, new telework policy across all Sussex County departments, a policy that will, above all, decrease the financial liabilities for the county and save the county money. Also, a telework policy option would help attract and retain much-needed staff to a department that is very understaffed. Hearing an office is understaffed may initially translate as money saved for the county. However, this has resulted in significant employee burnout due to a triple or even quadrupled workload, resulting in decreased employee retention. To put this into perspective, in the last year, we have lost at least 5 employees and gained only 1. The County of Sussex is one of the lowest paying counties in New Jersey. A telework option is an incentive for current employees to remain employed here rather than looking elsewhere to more flexible options. Although many other county employees could not be present tonight, they have written letters to express the benefits of the telework policy from their personal experience. And I would like to ask if you would consider, allowing me to pass these letters to you, as well as a proposal.
1 minute.
I have drafted, just regarding the benefits of the telework policy.
Sure. You could just hand them to Christina and she could pass them down
Okay.
if that's easier.
Okay, thank you, and I humbly thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, can I get a motion to close the floor for public comment? Commissioner
Second.
Hayden, Commissioner Groot seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carries. All right, number 9, Commissioners' comments. We'll start with Commissioner Henderson.
Okay, just a couple of things on my agenda for you is on March 14th, I had the privilege of judging 4-H presentations at Frankfurt School. Being a guy that went from 9 to 19 in 4-H, I mean, nobody wanted to get up and public speak in front of a group. My parents drugged me there too, so I'll give kids a lot of credit for doing it. It was a great experience. Commissioner DeGroot also was there as well. On March 18th, Deputy Director Space and I did a tour of the Sussex County 911 Operations Center and Office of Emergency Management. I can tell you as former law enforcement, I'm very impressed by the equipment the county has in case of any emergency. We then followed that up with the Sussex County Prosecutor's Office, where the prosecutor gave us a tour. He's here tonight in the audience. I'd like to thank you for our tour of your facility. It was great to speak with the employees there and to tour their offices as well. I feel the county is very well equipped with equipment and staff to handle any emergency between the 2 departments. On March 20th, I attended Sussex County VOTEC board meeting where it was announced that 3 teachers will be retiring at the end of the school year, and this does not appear to be affecting any of their programs going on in the 2025 June school year. On March 21st, I attended a retirement party for a gentleman here that was in charge of retentions and record, Dan Freed. I had the opportunity to meet him during my orientation here when I first started as commissioner. I think he's going to be greatly missed by the county, and believe me, if you sat in the audience that day, the man is hysterical. He should go on to be a stand-up comedian. On March 21st, I met with Commissioner Carney, County Administrator Ron Tappan, Christina Marks, and Head of Facilities Keith Nelson regarding the former jail, deciding whether to sell it or do renovations to it. And I look forward to continuing that conversation at future meetings. Today, I attended my first Sussex County Board of Estimate meeting along with Commissioner Carney and Space, followed by the Sussex County Vocational Board of Estimate meeting, followed at 5 o'clock by the SCC Board meeting, back to here tonight where I sit here tonight, and tomorrow night I will be attending my first open space meeting. I have sat on that board in the past in Lafayette for a number of years, and that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hayden?
All I have is I'm working with Christina on getting some links up in the farming, the agriculture. Some farmers came to me with some questions, and there's some information out there that they could use. I think we can put up on the website, the links. So I'm working on getting that done right now.
Good, you done? Commissioner DeGroot? Thank you. Commissioner Hayden?
Yes, so starting off with Sussex County Seed Library. On March 12th, the Division of Senior Services hosted its first educational session at Newton Liberty Towers with 19 seniors in attendance, led by Sussex County's Rutgers Master Gardeners and our very own senior services staff. The event was a tremendous success. Participants not only received seeds from the County Seed Library, but also engaged in hands-on planting demonstrations, learning how to start seeds in containers and transplant them for a thriving garden. Special thank you to Rutgers Master Gardeners for their valuable contribution for the educational initiative, as well as our valued senior services workers. Building upon this success, we have more additional educational sessions planned, including April 9th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Vernon Senior Center. April 21st, 2:30 to 4 p.m. at Hopakon Senior Center. If interested in attending, please register by calling 973-579-0555, extension 1225, or email kking@sussex.nj.us. In addition, as now liaison to the libraries, I wanted to waste no time in connecting with our beloved Sussex County libraries. A very special thank you to Assistant Library Director Ellen, who is here tonight, for being so gracious and great in taking me on tours to Franklin Library and Lewis Child's Library in Stanhope. It was really wonderful to meet staff and learn more about all the service and educational programs libraries offer outside of just traditional books. For example, the printing services, it's tax season. I mean, I literally saw someone come in and ask for tax forms that they could print. The Library of Things, which is a great program, computer and internet access. These are just a few things that are tremendous that these libraries offer. I look forward to continuing my tours, visiting Dorothy Henry, Wantage, and of course, the Dennis Library in the coming weeks. Furthermore, as liaison, I attended the Board of Taxation meeting last Wednesday, where I participated in an insightful discussion with the board and municipal tax planners who provided valuable perspectives on just the current economic climate here in Sussex County. The meeting also covered preliminary 2025 equalization tables for Sussex County municipalities and included discussion on advancing upgrades to the tax board's meeting room in the Cochrane Building. Specifically just the audio recording system to enhance accessibility and transparency. Aside from this, some recent events and community engagement. As mentioned, I had the pleasure of engaging with the community first with Commissioner Henderson at the 4-H public presentation judging at Frankfort Township School. We weren't in the same room, so I know we experienced different things, but I couldn't have learned more about pigeon racing, culinary, baking cookies, the kids are really great, and just as Commissioner Henderson said, public presentation is, so valuable. I do it, in this capacity, and it really just came from doing public presentations since I was like 8 or 9, 10 years old. So really great to give back there. Additionally, Commissioner Space and I had the opportunity to tour Jenny's house right across the street this past Monday. Very valuable, learning about all the services they provide to the community and the impact that they have. Thank you, Commissioner Space, for bringing me along. Finally, as mentioned, right before this meeting tonight, myself and Commissioner Henderson attended Sussex County Community College Board of Trustee meeting. Just a major highlight that I thought was very important to share was that the community college performed a mid-semester survey amongst SCC students, and what was found, the greatest statistic, was that 35% more of students feel they are supported and cared for than they did a year ago this last year. So the community college, that's a testament to the direction that they're headed and the great work that really they are doing. Finally, just ending with the community college, this Saturday there will be an agricultural mini conference from 9 to 12. This event will be include educational sessions, networking for farmers, as well as individuals passionate about gardening and sustainability. So feel free to stop in. That's all. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Commissioner DeGroot. I just want to thank you, too, for stepping up and taking over the library. I know in the past couple of years, we've had complaints that our liaisons haven't always been there. So thank you for doing that. I know we had a change kind of late in the year, not really late, but March. And one of those reasons being is because we needed somebody like yourself to step up. So thank you so much for that. Deputy Director Space.
Well, it's been another busy 2 weeks, and I'm a little repetitious going after the other two. On March 18th, Commissioner Henderson and I met with Sussex County Sheriff Mike Strada. We toured OEM and the 911 Communications Center. We toured the pole barn and saw all the equipment they use for emergencies. From there, we met with the newly appointed acting prosecutor, Sahil Kabis. Although he's newly appointed, he has been with the prosecutor's office since 2017. He took us on a tour through their 2 buildings on High Street, and I think Sahil is going to speak later on in the meeting. Possibly. On March 19th, as Commissioner Liaison, I attended my first board meeting at Ginny's house. Ginny's house is located right here in the Newton Green, was founded by Ginny and her late husband, State Senator Bob Littell, in 1997. Ginny's house provides hope and healing to victims of child abuse and childhood trauma. They have an upcoming fundraiser, which will be a survey to fill out, and they'll earn money from doing that. And then on March 24th, Commissioner DeGroot and I had the full tour of Ginny's house. It's such a cheerful place where children can receive all they need to heal from abuse. They are funded by grants and insurance is not billed. On March 19th, County Administrator Ron Tappan and I had a Sussex County Economic Development Partnership Board of Trustees meeting at the Chamber office. The Sussex County Economic Development Partnership, SCEDP, is dedicated to the creation of sustainable economic opportunity and prosperity to improve the quality of life in Sussex County. The SCEDP will proactively facilitate the recruitment, retention, and expansion of businesses that will complement and be consistent with the character and environment of Sussex County. Anyone can be an investor for as little as a $100 commitment. There's a link on the website to invest at www.sussexcountychamber.org. Municipalities are highly encouraged to do so, and Tammy Horsfield from the Chamber leads that board and helps cut through the red tape for businesses to come here to Sussex County. Yesterday, March 25th, I met with the Bristol Glen Advisory Committee, a group of community leaders who are interested in a wide range of topics related to seniors. We discussed ways to increase workforce here in the county and strategic partnerships for population health initiatives. Next one, I'd like to invite Lorraine Hentz to come represent all that our senior services has to offer. Lorraine's here somewhere. Oh, hi, Lorraine. And then today, Director Carney, Commissioner Henderson, and I attended two meetings, one being the Sussex County Community Colleges Board of School Estimate, and the other being Sussex County Technical School Board of School Estimate. And we unanimously approved both of their budgets as our boards. And this was not just a one-time meeting. There have been numerous meetings since November with the schools individually and then the schools to get together, and then they've had their own meetings on the best way to save the taxpayers' money and increase the education in our county. And I think both schools are headed in a very good direction, and I stand by that. Division of Senior Services, there's a Sussex County Veterans Appreciation Luncheon coming. The Sussex County Division of Senior Services is hosting an appreciation luncheon in honor of Sussex County veterans. The special event will be held on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Farmstead Golf and Country Club, located at 88 Lawrence Road in Lafayette, New Jersey. The luncheon will include presentations from various veteran organizations, information tables, and giveaways. Pre-registration for this event is required by April 16th, 2025. For additional information and to RSVP for the luncheon, please contact the Sussex County Division of Senior Services at 973-579-0555, extension 1277, or email seniorservices@sussex.nj.us. Division of Health, Office of Public Health Nursing, a women's health screening clinic will be held on Thursday, April 10th, 2025, from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Office of Public Health Nursing, 201 Wheatsworth Road in Hamburg. This clinic offers a variety of health screenings and education. This service is free to uninsured and underinsured county residents who qualify for the New Jersey Cancer Education and Early Detection NJ-SEED program. To make an appointment, call the Office of Public Health Nursing at 973-579-0570, extension 1275. Division of Health, Office of Public Health Nursing School Immunization Audits. The Office of Public Health Nursing completes an annual audit of student immunization records at all preschool, elementary, middle school, high school, and child care centers across Sussex County to ensure compliance with the recommended vaccine schedule. As of March 17th, 2025, the office completed site visits to all 96 county schools to conduct these audits for the 24-25 school year. Final audit reports must be submitted to the New Jersey Department of Health annually in June to ensure compliance with New Jersey law immunization requirements. The purpose of immunization requirements for pupils attending schools in New Jersey is to ensure that highly infectious and dangerous diseases do not inflict children of school age in our state. Division of Community and Youth Services, Sussex County Municipal Alliance. The County of Sussex Municipal Alliance received a grant of $15,000 from the New Jersey Department of Mental Health and Addiction through the Governor's Council on Substance Use Disorder. Municipal alliances are community-based volunteer committees in municipalities to address each community's unique substance abuse prevention needs and problems for all ages. The grant was for community and staff education. This funding was utilized to implement several programs in the community and with the alliances. The remaining funds were utilized to support the Backpack Snacks for Kids program at the Social Services Food Pantry and to raise awareness about invaluable programs and services available within the community. The Backpack Snacks for Kids program provides children in Sussex County with meals and snacks for the weekend. A variety of resources and prevention materials were distributed with each snack bag. That's it.
Thank you, Deputy Director. All right, I'll start off with Department of Engineering and Planning. The Sussex County Division of Planning is hosting the New Jersey Office of Planning Advocacy this Friday, March 28th at 2 o'clock here in the Commissioner Meeting Room. The Office of Planning Advocacy will be discussing the draft state development and redevelopment plan, outlining the review and comment process, and taking questions from the public. Everyone is strongly encouraged to participate in this public meeting to learn about and provide comments on the draft state plan. This plan will impact the future of Sussex. The Division of Engineering continues to manage design and construction of $2.4 million in projects to upgrade guide rail across 21 miles of county routes. I will save you that earful of all the county routes, but it's 21 miles. The Division of Public Construction crew is working on stormwater systems repairs along County Route 628 in Wantage and County Route 623 in Lafayette. During the project, the roadways will remain open. However, users should expect short delays. The DPW is continuing task requirements for compliance with Sussex County Highway Agency stormwater permit. Recently, DPW initiated the annual stormwater inlet inspection program. The program will inspect around 4,500 stormwater inlets, looking for inlets which require cleaning and/or repair. Issues identified as part of this inspection program will be programmed into future cleaning and repair queue. The Office of Bridge and Traffic Safety continues work on D18. That's Fenwick Road in Frankfurt. Work is expected to be completed and the road returned to full service in the next 6 weeks. The office is also coordinating the purchase of materials that will be used for replacement of X20, which is Berry Road in Wantage. I feel like I talk about that all the time. The Office of Bridge and Traffic Safety has completed the annual 2025 sign and pavement marking inspection program. The program inspects signs and pavement markings along county routes at the county intersections for operational functionality. Signs or pavement markings deficiencies identified during the inspection program will be programmed in a replacement or queue. And we just ask that everybody be patient and alert when you drive around these construction areas. As for one who works on the roads, we appreciate that. If you stay off your text a little bit, it'd be great. Little report from a former colleague, Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia. She's got a bill funding over a dozen dam restoration and repair projects in the state. That cleared the full assembly on Monday, sent it to the governor's office for signature. The bill A3951 and S2594 in the Senate taps into $28.7 million in unused funds from a 1992 clean water bond and a 2003 flood control bond to finance the cost of 17 dam restoration projects. Sussex County is home to the most dams in New Jersey. We also have a large portion of dams that would cause significant destruction and economic losses if they were to fail. Maintaining those dams by performing the proper repairs is the best way to protect our residents, businesses, and natural assets. Fantasia's legislation allows owners of private dams and lake associations to work with local governments to receive the loans to carry out the repairs. So basically, building dams, I haven't probably built one in about 5 years. What was going on, if you didn't have the money to fix your dam, you'd have to drain it. And I know actually I did one in Vernon that they had to drain it. So this bill gives them the loans to make sure they can keep their ponds, their lakes, their small lakes, theirs. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bunch of empty swamps. I know Lake Neapolitan did the same thing growing up in Wantage. That's where I lived. And you know, they had to come up with that money, and this way they can get these grants and small interest loans. So this is a very good thing for Sussex County. While the New Jersey has not been included in any FEMA disaster declarations directly related to dam failures, 6 dams failed and 51 were damaged in 2011's tropical storm Irene. That storm resulted in the largest coastal evacuation in state history and took 12 lives and cost over $760 million in property damage. So that's a good bill. Sign off on that. On March 15th, I met with, because I can't help myself, when we were at the German Christmas market, I met a gentleman named Ted Andrews, a Vietnam vet, and he's running the construction part of the Sparta VA Cemetery. So they were looking for some help as a surveyor. I stepped up, I met with them, I took a tour. I'll be volunteering my time to lay out some corners for them at the Veterans Cemetery going forward. They have, I think, about 700 veterans in that cemetery right now. And they have a lot of land to use. Not that I want people to die, didn't mean to seem like that way, but it's good. It really is good, and I think he told me the cost is approximately, it's all donation, but they usually get about $900 a plot, which is nice, and it's a good deed. And that property was actually owned by the county. That was donated 10 years ago, maybe, something like that.
2010?
Yeah, something like that. As I said before, we're working on the state plan. We had a meeting. I wasn't able to make it, but Ron and Christina stepped in for me with NJAC, trying to get some help. New Jersey Association of Counties, what NJAC stands for. Basically, we get together in the north and try to help push legislation to benefit the counties. And with the state plan, we're going to have a voice, and we're trying to get the rest of the counties to help us out with that. So that is all I have for now. All right, moving on. Number 10 is approval of consent agenda. There is no consent agenda. Number 11, approval minutes, regular meeting from March 12th, 2025. Motion to approve the minutes from the meeting, March 12th, 2025.
So moved.
Commissioner DeGroot, have a second.
Second?
Deputy Director Space, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, carries. 12, there is no ordinance. 13, appointments and/or resignations. Resolution A, reappointment of Joseph P. Donovic, Esquire, as community member of the Sussex County Senior Services Advisory Council for a term of 3 years, said term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2027. Resolution B is a reappointment of Laura Dicker as a member of the Sussex County Disability Services Advisory Council for a term of 3 years, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2027. Motion to adopt resolutions A and B.
So moved.
Commissioner Henderson, Commissioner Hayden seconds. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Deputy Director Space,
Yes.
Director Carney,
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
All right. 14's resolutions. Can I get a motion to adopt resolutions A through H?
So moved.
Deputy Director Space, have a second.
So moved.
Commissioner Henderson, discussion? Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Deputy Director Space.
Yes.
Director Carney,
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
At this time, I'm going to step away from the dais. Jill, if you could take over, I'm going to abstain from this next resolution that we've separated, so.
Is there a motion to adopt Resolution I? Okay, so no motion. Okay, we can carry on. So it doesn't go through, right, Doug?
Correct.
It
No,
just,
it's
no motion.
Correct.
All right, thank you for taking over. 15 is awards of contract change orders bid. We have 2 resolutions. The Board of County Commissioners of the County of Sussex has reviewed the award of contract change orders bids consisting of various proposed resolutions and determined that adoption of the said resolutions is and will further the public's interest. I'm going to just read these real quick. Resolution A is award of contract for bituminous concrete, aggregates, broken stone, and sand for the Division of Public Works, County of Sussex, to various vendors from April 28th, 2025 through April 27th, 26. Resolution B is award of contract through the competitive contracting process for website redesign or rebid to Civic Plus LLC in the amount of $93,727 from March 26 through 25, or I'm sorry, March 26, 2025 through March 25, 26. I should have been better. All right, motion to adopt resolutions A through B.
So moved.
Deputy Director Space.
Second.
Commissioner DeGroot, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right, 16 is financial, 2 bills lists. We'll go Resolution A. This is the payments of bills list from March 26, 2025. Motion to pay the bills list.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Henderson, Commissioner Hayden seconds. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right, Resolution B is a governing body certificate of compliance with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's EEOC enforcement guidance of the consideration of arrest and conviction records and employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Motion to adopt Resolutions B.
So moved.
Deputy Director Space, have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Henderson, any discussion? All right, roll call.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right, Resolution C, authorizing emergency temporary appropriations of 2025, operating budget for the County of Sussex. Motion to adopt Resolution C.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeGroot and Commissioner Hayden seconds. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right, motion to adopt Resolutions D through F.
So moved.
Deputy Director Space, got a second?
Second.
That you, Jeff?
Yeah.
Commissioner DeGroot seconds. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right. G, presentation of the 25 county budget. Elka, you are up, you and Tony. Are we set up here? We're good?
I want to thank them for all their help in being on the committees, sitting down with the various departments, listening to what everybody has to say, and help in cutting down and figuring out what we could do to get the. Okay. I know I don't talk loud. I don't walk loud either. I always sneak up on people in the office. So thank you for all your help on this whole process. This is a long process. It doesn't happen in a few weeks. It happens over months. It starts in August, where our budget director, Tony, sends out information to the various departments, tells them what the goals are for the county, what our guidelines are, and then they have to submit budget requests for both operating and capital. In September, we sit down with all the departments to go over their operating requests. In November, we sit down with everybody to go over their capital requests. Then we put all the numbers together, see where we are, try to keep cutting down, to keep the property taxes low, to keep our goals in mind. And finally, December, once we get our year-end numbers, we can start really finalizing the budget. We meet with the subcommittees again to go over the final numbers. Then we have a work session, which we had a few weeks ago. And now tonight, I'm introducing the budget and the way the statutory requirements are. We have to have at least 18 days for the public to do their inspection of the budget. And then we have our public hearing, which will be on April 23rd. And then that's the night where they can, as long as we get approval from the state to adopt, they can vote to adopt or not adopt the budget. And just so you know, this PowerPoint and the state budget document will be available on the website once it's introduced officially. So there's certain laws that affect the county budget. That's something that we have to keep in mind. We have 3 cap laws. 2 of them are on the tax levy. We have the 1977 cap, which is what the county usually falls under, and which is actually more restrictive when you come up with the numbers than the 2010 cap. The 2010 cap is a 2% tax levy cap. The 1977 is more of like the appropriations cap for a municipality, but it's actually 2 tax levy caps, so we make sure that we don't just raise our budget exponentially. The 2017 county entity cap, that is for the outside offices such as the Sheriff's Department, the Board of Taxation, the Board of Elections, the Prosecutor's Office, and the surrogate. Those entities cannot increase their budget more than 2% without a vote of the governing body. And we're in all caps. We had 3 resolutions which were just approved for 3 of the departments to increase their budget, but it keeps us as a whole within the budget. So the goals for this year's budget that the departments had to keep in mind were to be fiscally responsible while keeping Sussex County affordable, to take strides towards having competitive wages and benefits to retain and recruit employees. That's where you get into, giving people a plan of moving up and promoting people within, maintaining and improving levels of service for the benefits of the taxpayers where we can, and utilizing grants to assist in funding for core county functions. So our 2025 total budget is $126,714,442. 82% of that is county purpose tax, and that's just because the county doesn't have the ability to create revenues from other sources. Other than fees that are governed by the state, there's not a lot of other options for revenue, so therefore it's 82% of our budget. We have 4% of it is in grant revenue. State aid is 2%. Miscellaneous revenues, those are the fees we can charge, like clerk's fees if you go to get your passport renewed and you have to pay a fee, or you have a road opening permit, you need to pay a fee. Those are the types of things that go under miscellaneous revenues. And we're utilizing 8.774 of fund balance. So fund balance comes, it's basically in accounting, it's your assets minus your liabilities equals your fund balance. It's your retained earnings, so to speak. And the way you generate fund balance is from your lapsing of your appropriation reserves. So money we did not spend last year's budget gets lapsed into fund balance. If we have revenue that's out above what we anticipate, that also goes to fund balance. And miscellaneous revenues that we don't anticipate, that we don't know are gonna occur, that also goes to generate our fund balance. At the end of 2024, our fund balance was $22.8 million, or 18.10% of last year's operating budget. We currently have a fund balance policy that we set into place in 2018. The 18% is within the fund balance policy, and we're anticipating $8.8 million this year, which is about $1 million over from last year. We do anticipate regenerating that.
Elko, just a quick question for the benefit of the audience. So 18.1%, or $22.8 million. What's like a healthy? What's the statute on that, you say?
Our fund balance policy says we want to be between 12 and 20%.
Okay.
If
So
we're
on the higher end then.
If we're over, getting closer to 20, the fund balance policy says we need to find ways to bring that down, which is why we're anticipating 8.8. We're anticipating another $1 million. What we're doing with that funding is a one-time hit because you have to make sure you're regenerating it. We're paying down some of our deferred charges for our bond ordinances that we haven't borrowed the money for yet. We're going to pay that down so it's more of a pay-as-you-go, and that helps to offset future debt. It will keep our liability down and interest costs down.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that just shows a picture of the fund balance history and used as revenue. So as we've been gaining more in fund balance, we've been using a higher amount, but we've also been regenerating it, so we're in a healthy place with our fund balance. Here's a snapshot of the last 2 years and this year for our budget. This budget is a 3.1 increase. Our total budget is a 3.19 increase of the adopted budget from last year, but it's an increase on the tax levy itself of less than 1%. It's 0.997. So it's a less than 1% increase on the tax levy. The tax levy is 103,900,000. That includes new construction. Our rateable base is estimated to be 26.1 billion, and our estimated rate is 0.397 per hundred. That is a product of the inflation and new construction that creates the rateable base to go up, therefore the tax rate is going down. Being a county, we can't specify that each person is different. I mean, each town is different of what chunk they get out of the tax rate, so there's no set average taxpayer in the county because, you know, Vernon might get more than, Andover might get more than Lafayette based on how the ratables are just happen to go each year. So there's equalization, and that's what creates your tax rate for your specific town.
Okay, one more question, sorry. So the tax rate is going down for the fourth or fifth year in a row?
Since it's at least the fifth.
It's at least the fifth, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I just went over all the revenue. Now we have the,
Hold on, Chris, I have one other question.
Sure.
So pursuant to, following up on his question, so over the last 5 years, if the taxpayers were paying just on our budget, their taxes would have gone down.
if the taxpayers,
In other words, if we didn't have the school taxes, we didn't have all the, if they were just paying this, it would have gone down, correct?
the rate has gone down per hundred. So it all depends on what your what your value of your property is assessed at. If it stayed the same, then theoretically, yes. But different towns get different things, and then it goes back to equalization, so.
That's to answer the question there, that, I mean, we have work to drop it.
Yes, we've definitely kept it low. And new ratables coming in, Thor Labs, you know, I mean, I know they're part pilot, but all these businesses that are putting stuff into the county have helped. So we'll go to appropriations. There's a lot of expenses to run a county. You know, it's a sad fact. We have things that we're required to do. We have costs that are statutory, being government. So our grant expenses, which offset our grant revenue, is 4.9 million. And this kind of breaks out what each department is, and we'll go through those over the next few slides as to what exactly they are. I also put a little diagram of the county dollar taking out grants. This is how your every dollar you spend in taxes is, you can separate it. So the biggest chunk is 22 cents on every dollar is your capital, debt, and statutory expenses. This includes capital improvement fund. That's the money that we put aside to pay as you go for capital projects. Debt service payment is just our principal and interest on our debt. We have pension payments to public employment retirement system, that's PERS, or PFRS is police and fire. And DCRP is for our part-time employees. We have to contribute our share for that. Social Security payments for our employees. And deferred charges, that would be any prior year bills. And in this year's budget, we have deferred charges for our debt, which I was talking about with how we're using fund balance. 19 cents on every dollar is used for public safety. That includes the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's department, our inmate contract with Morris County, our Office of Emergency Management, 911, which is 911 not only for our shared service with our fire departments and stuff, but also our sheriff's department. We have to dispatch for our own sheriff's department. The county medical examiner, we give aid to the volunteer fire departments and EMS. Our fire marshal, we put money towards the Public Safety Training Academy. the fire academy, and our juvenile and youth services for our juvenile detention program. Another 19 cents of your dollar is insurance. That's our health insurance, our liability insurance, our workers' comp insurance, and unemployment. 13 cents on our dollar helps fund Public Works, which our Public Works Department in both fleet, facilities, and roads does a fantastic job. If you go on your streets in the winter, I always know to take the county roads because I know they're going to be clean. Can't always say that about the state roads. No offense, Senator Steiner. But I know they do a great job, and you can always see the lines, because at night when you're driving and it's raining and you can't see lines, you should be thanking or when you can see the lines, you should be thanking the DPW that they have a program, or engineering department, that they have a program in place, and they've set that all up. And our vehicles wouldn't be able to go anywhere without our fleet department, which is also a very good department that does a lot of work and has to keep all our vehicles running smoothly so our employees can do their work that they need to. And mosquito control is part of our Public Works. You would be, if you ever want to know anything about mosquitoes or, mosquito bites and what they cause and what can happen, call up Paige Lockburner. She's our superintendent. She knows everything you ever want to know about mosquitoes, and she'll let you know. And she's even learning a lot more about ticks. So things that we don't like to hear about, but it costs money to take care of them, and that helps protect us, protect the public. And our facilities crew is awesome too. We have 60 buildings that we take care of. It costs a lot of money. There's been a lot of deferred maintenance, so they do a wonderful job of trying to do what they can with the money that they have. We can't fix everything in a day. We try to keep our buildings good so that we're not paying a lot more later on. And the board has been very supportive in fixing problems now than they have been over the past years. 10 cents on your dollar goes towards education. That we help fund the tech school and the college. That all comes out of county, your county tax rate. And we also support Rutgers Cooperative Extension, a portion of the salaries for that, as well as our superintendent of schools. We fund part of their support staff. And then if residents in our county go to Morris County because they're doing a program that Sussex County doesn't have, we have to pay their tuition, or a portion of their tuition. So that's where your 10 cents goes. And we're getting down to the smaller cents. 10 cents is all of that. I put the picture of the train there because it's kind of like we keep everything going, and you don't always see it. So that's your employee services, our central services, our office of purchasing, the finance department, technology. There's a lot of stuff that's involved, and the 10 cents goes to cover all of those departments. So that's a good bargain there. And 5 cents is for your health and human services. This is your Office of Public Nursing, your environmental health, senior services, community and youth, mental health. This is, a lot of this, these expenses are grant funded partially, so that's why it's such a small amount for the services that they provide, is because grants cover a lot of what they do. And last but not least on our expenditures is our utilities and other common operating expenses. We have a transit department, if you've heard of Skylands Ride, which they do a great job of getting people places where they need to be. They're part of this, as well as we do some veteran grave registration, and our some of our audit stuff and financial stuff that we have to take care of falls under this category, as well as our fuel, which we have a lot of vehicles, so we're using a lot of fuel through the days. So this budget that I just went over the dollar amounts, it's advancing our county's priorities. We continue to provide resources for county services during higher than average inflationary times, while keeping the amount to be raised in taxes lower than the current inflation rate. This budget identifies sustainable revenue sources to limit the increase to the tax levy, continues to support the technical school, community college, and volunteer fire departments. It utilizes fund balance to ensure long-term sustainability and be in compliance with the fund balance policy. It maintains a level of funding for debt service and capital improvement consistent with the debt policy. And the budget is a balancing act. Strong credit assists in our borrowing costs, and strong fund balance is a key measurement for the rating agencies. Our county's Standard & Poor's rating right now is a AA+. And last is the capital budget. Our capital budget this year is $13.7 million. There's a little graph, which you can look online if you want to go into more detail about it, but it's primarily for the tech school and the county college. A lot of bridge improvements, libraries, a lot of facility improvements to the libraries, as well as vehicles and technology and some public safety in there, and of course, more vehicles. Those are just some of the main projects that are in our budget. And I wanted to thank everybody. I wanted to especially thank Tony Grisafi and Administrator Tappan for all their work with getting everything ready to go to present to the commissioners and the commissioners who were on the budget subcommittees.
So, okay, just for, again, for the benefit of the audience, there's a few questions. I think it breaks down for simple people like myself. The debt reduction, I don't know if that you have those numbers on us. What has it been for the last 5 years? How many millions of dollars it went down? Do you have that handy?
I don't have that handy.
Okay.
I can bring that to the,
5 years ago, it's 79 now.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
it was over 5%, or over 0.5%, and now it's down to just over 1/3 of a percent.
Like 30, I feel like it was $36 million. And then the percentage of a dollar. So of course, everybody wants to lower their taxes. We're not here. We pay taxes. We want to lower our taxes too. That's silly to think otherwise. But, you know, we also have unfunded mandates that come to us. You got to do this. No one gives us money. The state doesn't give us money. Our insurance is through the roof. Went up, what, 14%? How much would it go up? 4%.
Where you had a good year at 4.7%.
4.7, I guess that's the state, that was their insurance of 14%. So that came down to us. And then just the percentage, so we get blamed a lot for school taxes going up and so on and so forth, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this is approximate, but 22% of your dollar goes to the county. 11 goes to municipality, about 64 to 64% goes to schools, 1.6 to 1.9 goes to libraries, roughly, correct?
Roughly, yes.
Right.
Yeah, it depends what
So-
town, but yes.
So a lot of times people look at your taxes, I know my taxes are gonna go up about $250. It's not from the county. It's really not. You need to look at your Board of Eds and see what they're raising their taxes. Obviously, we get blamed for that. You like to blame your mayors and those council. I've been down that road too. I've seen it happen. So just think about that a little bit. 22% comes here. It sounds like a lot when you're looking at $127 million, but at the end of the day, it's really not that much compared to what the school is charging. And then the capital budget, we're at 13 million. Normally, we're at 18.
Yes, at
Right.
least.
Yeah,
We had a
so-
good year this year with requests. We have a lot of improvements that were authorized in prior years that the departments are catching up with now that some of the departments have fuller staff, and we're able to do some of that stuff. We had to put kind of a hold on some of our capital because of, we got the ARPA funding. So we had to use up our American Rescue Plan funding first because there's deadlines on that of when we can spend that. But we had a good year in capital, and we did the majority of that in pay-as-you-go. The only things that we're bonding this year are for the college and the tech school, and that's because we get funding from the state to pay for part of that. So in order for us to take advantage of that, we need to bond for that. But other than that, the rest of it is pay-as-you-go for this year.
Perfect.
And
I
the
just-
college, the last 2 years, has been half of the Chapter 12 funding.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys again, Elka, Tony, Ron, everybody up here, looking over the budget, whether you're on the committee or not. We're all looking at the budget and questioning whether you're on the budget committee or not. You still got to look at it and whatnot and put your 2 cents in. So it is a good budget. It is at under 1% with inflation, as Elka said, and the things that we were able to accomplish, you know, even being able to give money to offset the costs for the fire departments, for their candidates, you know, that saves the municipality money, which in turn saves you money. I'm proud of this budget. I really am. This is, in 5 years, this is, I think, the best budget. Be nice to be flat, be nice to be a little lower, but it's not. This is what we live in. Again, there is a lot of unfunded mandates, and I won't swear, but things roll downhill, right? And we get stuck on the bag sometimes. So, again, thank you for what you do.
Can I make one comment?
Of course.
Commissioner, for the public's knowledge, the AA+ rating, like what we said, it's our credit rating, that is the highest rating that we can obtain. It's based on the revenues of the county by size. So we just don't have enough ratables in to get that higher percentage. But we have the highest credit rating that you can have with an operation this size. That's a credit to all the department heads, the commissioners, everybody watching the budget. But we got a good place here. We're very fiscally responsible.
Anybody want to say anything before we close and introduce, commissioner-wise? No? Okay. All right, thank you again.
Thank you, Elko. Thank you, Tony.
All right, H, introduction of the 2025 county budget for the first reading. The 2025 Sussex County budget is being introduced for the first reading at this time and awaits approval by the board. The 2025 Sussex County budget revenues and appropriations summary will be advertised in the New Jersey Herald issue of March 30th, 2025. Can I get a motion to introduce this resolution on the first reading?
So moved.
Deputy Director, Commissioner Hayden seconds. Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Deputy Director Space.
Yes.
Director Carney.
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot.
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Abstain.
All right. Can I get a motion to authorize the clerk to advertise the budget revenues and appropriations summary as introduced for the first reading and also post same in a bulletin board in the lobby of County Administrative Center, together with notice of public hearing stating that a hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the County Administrative Center, 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey, on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2025 may be presented by taxpayers or interested persons.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeGroot, Deputy Director seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain. Resolution, okay, the motion to adopt resolutions I through J.
So moved.
Commissioner Henderson, got a second?
Second.
Commissioner Henderson, I'm sorry, Hayden. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Director Space.
Yes.
Director Carney.
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot.
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
All right, K is the introduction for the first reading. This is ordinance 25-01. This is a bond ordinance providing for the Sussex County Vocational School District Sewer Treatment Plant Project located within the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,731,600, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,731,600 bonds or notes to finance the cost thereof. Motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading and authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance as introduced for first reading and also post same on the bulletin board in the library of the County Administrative Center, together with a notice of public hearing, stating that a hearing will be held on April 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. prior to the final adoption of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Henderson moves, Commissioner DeGroot seconds. Any discussion? Call.
Deputy Director Space.
Yes.
Director Carney.
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot.
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden.
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
All right, number L is the introduction for first reading, ordinance 25-02. Is a bond ordinance providing for the undertaking of 2025 capital improvements at and for certain facilities of Sussex County Community College located within the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,150,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,150,000 bonds or notes of the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, for the financing such appropriation, the principal of and interest of the aggregate principal amount of which will be entitled to the state aid pursuant to Chapter 12 of the laws of New Jersey of 1971. Motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading and authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance as introduced for first reading and also post same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administrative Center, together with a notice of public hearing stating that a hearing will be held on April 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. prior to final adoption of the ordinance.
So moved.
Commissioner Henderson, can I have a second?
Second?
Deputy Director Space, any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right. M, introduction for first reading ordinance 25-03, capital ordinance providing for general capital improvements and the acquisition of certain capital equipment in and for the county of Sussex, state of New Jersey, and appropriating the sum of $8,535,128 from the county's capital improvement fund to pay for the cost thereof. Can I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading and authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance as introduced for the first reading and also post same on a bulletin board in the library of the County Administrative Center, together with a notice of public hearing stating that a hearing will be held on April 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. prior to final adoption of the ordinance?
So moved.
Commissioner DeGroot, have a second?
Second?
Deputy Director Space, any discussion? All right, roll call.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
A lot. Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right. Number 17 is personnel. There is none. Number 18, the administrative report.
Thank you, Commissioner Director. A couple things going on. I participated in the statewide executive meeting this past week where we go over the fund that we belong to that covers our general liability, workers' compensation and such. I'm an executive on that, and we go through all the claims, so we had our quarterly meeting on that. Negotiations are still going on with the PBA sheriff, corrections, and prosecutors. That's still progressing. I participated in the NJAC Personnel Directors meeting this last week, and the topics was legislative reform on civil service, and one hot topic there is the extension of the 90-day working test period from 3 months to 4 months that we're trying to get moving. And we had a quarterly review meeting with our insurance broker, and we went through all our claims, and we're running at what we call an 85% rate, which means that when we pay a premium of $1, right now, we're running about $8.50 to that. So the healthcare is looking good. We're down in healthcare. However, our prescription claims are up. They continually to grow up, primarily for the cost of them and the utilization of them. And then lastly, we have, starting tomorrow, we have 4 interviews for the replacement of the college trustee. And on Monday, we have 4 more interviews for the replacement of the one college trustee. And to Mr. DeGroot's report, this is the most applications we've ever gotten at one time to go on that board. So the interest in that school is ever rising. And it's seen by the volunteerism that people are looking to do to join the boards. So with that, that's all I have tonight.
All right. County Councilor, no, sir. Nothing? 20, anybody have any unfinished business? I just want to report, Commissioner Hayden had to leave. I guess he had an emergency, so we will. 21, new business.
Yes.
That is Jeff. You are up. IT resolution to authorize purchase order.
Commissioners, thank you for your time and consideration of my requisition request. Not as much as I respect my wife's time and consideration of budgetary requests at home, but that goes without saying. The situation that arose that kind of fomented in this not being presented prior for review was that we're using VMware for all of our compute and desktop computing here, and they were purchased by Broadcom last year. They divested part of their business to Omnissa, so the renewal process for licensing for what we have currently was now handled by 2 entities that were, instead of taking weeks to generate proposals, we're taking months. So on February 28th, I received a proposal from our vendor under the Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. I requested a 1-year and a 3-year option. The 1-year option came in at $70,400. The 3-year option came in at $178,000. So it was a considerable savings, and this was on top of the fact that the whole licensing model for the way VMware charges for the licensing has changed from per processor core to, or per processor to per core. Each processor has multiple cores, so you're talking about exponential increase in cost. with that in mind, I had to look for the most feasible and economical option, which was the 3-year commitment. I went back to the vendor on the date I received the proposals on February 28th and said, I'd like to do the 3-year option, but this really puts a burden on my expenditures because I haven't budgeted for this type of expenditure. Can I pay annually with the commitment, which in the past they had done? On March 13th, I got the response after they went back to Broadcom and Omnissa, and I got a proposal that, yeah, we can do it, but it's $211,000. And looking at that, I said, well, that's the 1-year option, just, multiplied by 3. There's no savings in that. So in further conversation and emails back and forth, it became clear that the most, economically viable alternative for the county to save that $32,000 was to go with the 3-year prepaid option. So I approached Elka and Matthias in purchasing and said, I have capital for other projects that I can either postpone or, utilize portions of that funding. So I had the budgetary, but it was just that we were coming down now to the licensing that we're currently running under the auspices of our upgrade is a 90-day evaluation license, which expires on April 2nd. So if I don't have the renewal prior to that date, I lose all visibility to the infrastructure that we're running. And so that's where I said, can we please, respectfully get this on tonight's meeting?
I do have a question. The resolution that we were originally presented with made reference to a contract. I mean, we had some exchanges back and forth, because I was never presented with a contract to look at. I guess the contract that you or whomever was referring to in the initial email was actually the co-op contract, not a separate contract. This is just being done with the PO, correct?
That's correct.
And, counsel, that was corrected by the purchasing agent. They removed the reference to contract.
Okay, thank you.
Before we move this, is there any other commissioner have any questions? Okay, thank you, Joe.
Great, thank you very much.
No, I was going to make a comment. We talk about all the processes that we budget. We got his group that keeps us on a 24/7 process of keeping bad guys and processes out of our business, and he does a very good job at that. It's kind of odd that not only that Jeff is here tonight talking about how he protects us, we have our county prosecutor in here that's going to have the same type of issue because he puts them in jail after we catch them. So that was.
Good. All right, well, can I get a motion for a resolution to authorize the purchase for IT software?
So moved.
Deputy Director Space, got a second?
Second.
Commissioner Henderson, any discussion, any more discussion? All right, I guess we'll have a roll call now because we're spending money, right? Yep.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is now absent. Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Jeff, for looking out for that. I know some things sometimes happen at short notice, but to save the money and be protected, I appreciate that. All right, number 2 is the Prosecutor's Office grant application. Sahil, you are up.
First of all, thank you for hearing me. I know this is not the ideal way to present this, and I also apologize for my attire. The lack of the arm is preventing the suit jacket and tie, so apologies in advance. As all of you are aware, you've previously approved a grant dealing with the ARRIVE program, which is a program that's been mandated by the state. The second part of that program is considered the critical incident model, which requires additional expenditures and resources to provide to law enforcement, especially responding to what is defined as a critical incident. The state has certain funding that is available. Specifically for Sussex County, it's $85,800. And I apologize for the last minute, but the reason for the timing is that, as you're all aware, in this county, it is very difficult to identify medical service providers, especially dealing with a very specialized need, dealing with law enforcement and responding to critical incidents. We were able to identify one. So the application and the resolution I ask that you consider is allowing one to apply for this grant so that we may get the funding from the state to offset any liabilities that we may have. But secondly, to allow us to engage in a letter of intent with MHA, which is the medical service provider we were able to identify which is willing to, one, provide services within the county on the very specific needs that we have pursuant to the Attorney General directive.
Good. Anybody, any commissioners have anything? Everybody's good? Good? All right. Well, thank you for coming in, and again, we
Thank you.
appreciate you looking out, saving some money.
I
getting
will
some
say
grants.
this, as a county resident myself, I have a very newfound appreciation for how all of you manage our budget and stretch our dollars, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sahil. All right, can I get a motion to put forth a resolution for the grant for the prosecutor's office?
So moved.
Second.
Director Space moves, Commissioner DeGroot seconds, discussion, we're good. All right, roll call, please.
Deputy Director Space?
Yes.
Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Okay, 22 is a public session from the floor. This public session is for those wishing to make general comments of 3 minutes or less on non-agenda topics. Please line up at the microphone and state your name and the municipality for the record. Motion to open the floor for public comment.
So moved.
Commissioner DeGroot.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Henderson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose, abstain, carries. You are up.
Pamela Gray, Stillwater Township. I spoke at our,
I, hold on.
Just one second, that way you can see how much time you have to move on.
It might still be picking up. Should be this. Hold on. No, it's room, it should be this one.
I spoke at the last meeting about education, and I heard back from 2 of you, which I greatly appreciated. A question I was asked by one of you was where I wanted to respond to that valid question. Where have I been? I've been in our community, doing my part as a public school teacher for 33 years. More to your point, though, my participation in politics has been through my vote, an important part, but less active than many of you. I'm known in my circle of friends as someone who is a conservative Democrat, who dislikes public speaking, enjoys talking about all issues, and knows the political pendulum shifts. And that in itself is the very sign of an active and engaged democracy. I am someone who has always had faith in that democracy, until now. The reason I'm here now is because I have lost that faith. Our current administration is dismantling many of the government agencies and their funding that serve this community well. We just heard about many of them. I believe it will hit our county hard. We are actively watching our president and Congress not pushing for reform or oversight in our federal agencies, but using his executive power and silent complacency to push towards a privatized market economy, which, although efficient, will abolish equitable services for all. It is against the values of America, and it goes against what these departments and what our government's role is, serving we the people, all of the people. By abolishing the departments like education, Medicare, Social Security, even weather, we make equitable distribution to all impossible. And so I think we should be having dialogue with about the services that the county commissioners oversee. I think we should begin to work backwards.
1 minute.
Thinking about the services that the people who live here depend on. Who receives them, and how will they be affected by a loss of funding? How will this loss of funding be subsidized? It is your job to have dialogue with your constituents and to push back, because this is not speculation at this point. It is exactly what this executive branch is pushing for. And they are not being challenged by the legislative branch, and they're intimidating the judicial branch. I'm here because I've lost faith. We're hearing our voices because we are afraid and angry about the political impact this will have on our neighbors in our communities. I'm I'm not looking for you to be a vessel for my anger or my fear or my frustration. I'm asking you to be a pathway to some of these solutions.
Good evening, Ken Collins, Andover Township. First off, as long as I can breathe, I am never going to stop applying pressure to the county to reduce the property tax burden on homeowners. So get used to it. I'm going to keep on coming here, putting the pressure on you, and it's obvious it's worked because I've been doing it since the turn of the century, and you guys have finally decided to rein in the budget a little over the last 5 years. So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm here this evening, once more, disappointed that Commissioner Hayden has failed to present his resignation yet again. Mr. Hayden has presented himself to his peers as a veteran of the United States military. His claims included the myth that Mr. Hayden was a Navy SEAL when the closest he's been to a SEAL is the aquarium. As an actual veteran of the United States Army, Mr. Hayden's continued service on this board is a grave disservice to our community and an abject insult to me and every single veteran in Sussex County. And by allowing him to sit there where he conveniently is not right now, you are all doing a disservice to every single veteran that resides in this county. If Mr. Hayden had the common sense to do the right thing, he would get his pen out, well, he's not here, right now and begin writing his resignation, effective immediately. There's no time like the present. He should resign tonight. Lastly, I want to congratulate Alina Haba on her appointment, and I urge you to settle.
You have to speak almost on top of the mic.
Jean Apriage, Hampton Township. Thank you for the excellent budget presentation and for all of your activities over the last week. Unfortunately, I have to impress upon you how moot all of that will be if we no longer have a Constitution of the United States under which the principle of federalism allows us to have a local government that we control. So I am here tonight to ask where each of you stands on the Trump administration's actions and what each of you has done in the past 2 weeks to address concerns voiced at the last commissioners' meeting. The Trump administration is in the process of destroying our republic. Republicans across the country are enabling Trump and his dangerous administration to dismantle the Constitution. Republican representatives have repeatedly shown that they don't care or are willfully ignorant of the fact that our representative democracy is on the brink of collapse. Trump and his dangerous band of amoral secretaries and advisors are doing irreparable harm to our citizens and institutions. Every aspect of our lives is at risk. Services for individuals, from students with special needs to veterans with serious medical issues, social safety nets from SNAP to children, for children to Social Security for seniors, government agencies from AID to the Pentagon are all under attack. The judiciary is under attack. Civil liberties are under attack. National security is under attack. Everyone in this room is negatively impacted by Trump's chaotic destruction of our government. What are you doing as our elected officials to stop this from happening? What did each of you do in the past 2 weeks to address our concerns about Trump's attacks? Trump must be stopped. The Republican Party as a whole has proven its fealty to an autocrat. Republicans' willful ignorance of our constitutional system is terrifying. I implore the Board of Commissioners to publicly take a stand against Trump. If we have another opportunity to vote in free and fair elections, I implore citizens of Sussex County to vote for candidates up and down the ticket who voice their opposition to Trump. In every office, from town council to state senators, we need to replace Trump supporters with intelligent, compassionate, and courageous citizens who want to save our constitutional republic.
I ask that each commissioner take this opportunity tonight to pledge allegiance not to a dictator, but to the Constitution of the United States of America, and publicly object to Trump's destruction of it. Will you do that?
Sandy Hall, Layton, New Jersey. In January of 2025, H.R. 6492, the Explore Act, was passed. The description reads, to improve recreation opportunities on and facilitate greater access to federal public land and for other purposes. As well-intentioned as this act may be, like many mandates coming down from higher levels of government, what benefits one area may not benefit another. I respectfully request the commissioners carefully consider the advantages and the disadvantages in the Explore Act pilot programs until more information and details are available. For example, the phrase "for other purposes" is concerning in that we do not know what those other purposes are. Warren County Commissioners submitted a request to Congressman Kane to participate in the pilot program of the Explore Act, and in that letter also requested the Delaware Water Gap Recreation Area communities to participate. Congressman Kane then sent a similar request to the Secretary of Interior Burgum. Warren County passed a resolution urging other gateway communities along the Delaware to participate in pilot programs. Points of the Warren County resolution are attached to this statement. I spoke with Warren County Commissioner Sarnofsky yesterday regarding the resolution. He clarified the request was for Warren County and agreed that every community should review the Explore Act before commitment to participate. Of particular concern, Section 131 of this 82-page Explore Act document refers to gateway communities, and that's us. Sussex County is unique in its relationship to the Delaware Water Gap. We are not bordered by a heavily traveled interstate highway. Our infrastructure and road system offer limited access to the recreation area. I feel this section needs to be carefully reviewed before jumping into a pilot program. And I thank you for your time and consideration, but I will say I printed out this 82-page document, and it is a task to read it. So if you all can read it and make sense of it and say, hey, this is great for our county, so be it. But from where I'm sitting, it doesn't look so hot. Thank you again.
Sandy, thanks. Can I give you a
Perfect, thank you.
no cliff notes on that?
Kathy Brennan, Hampton Township. I would like to piggyback on some other people, what they have said, so I'll try to make it brief. I'd like to express my concerns about the budget cuts and the agency firings. There have been many programs that have had basically a chainsaw taken to them, rather than having knowledgeable people reviewing agency workings and doing things that make sense. For now, since so many people have already said things, I will focus on IDEA funding. Cutting or transferring these responsibilities to another agency and possibly cutting what we would be getting will put a great severe disadvantage for our most vulnerable population. Since our president has many times stated his dislike for blue states and preference for red states, I worry, since New Jersey is a blue state, that we may see more massive cuts. So basically, I guess what I'd like to know is, do you have any plans, or what are you preparing to do to ensure that these services in our county are still fully funded without any disruptions? I've worked in the disability population field for many years, and I know how devastating any changes to their routine can be. And I would not want this to happen to any of the children. Last but not least, I have to say, once again, Commissioner Hayden should go. Thank you.
Hi, Scott Knoll, Sparta, New Jersey. I'm kind of new to paying attention to all of this, so it's more a request for clarification, and I don't need a response tonight. My understanding is that the budget that was a beautiful presentation, by the way. 126.7 was the number, and the prior year was 122.8, and we're capped at a 2% increase. That was a more than 3% increase. So I mean, I know it's early, right? But like that doesn't line up. And with inflation, it's still retrograde, right? Like you can pick your inflation number, but it's problematic, right? Some things has to be cut. That's the only way the math can work. So my request.
So I want to give you the answer. We're gonna give you the answer, and only because we're doing adoption tonight with the budget. Because this isn't Q&A, but I think it's important, and Elka's right here, so she can give you that answer, and maybe some other people would like that, since.
Well, no, and that's and that was my point, right? Like, it would be great for the community to be able to see what I'm about to ask,
So
so.
I interrupt you all. Keep your
Yeah, of
time.
course.
So-
No, it's fine.
Elka,
I'm almost done anyway.
Explain that way if anybody in the audience, and we're doing this because it is budget adoption, and I think it's important. So, Elka, you mind?
So you indicated that the budget is up 3.19%, which it is, but the amount to be raised in taxes is less than 1%. So that's what you have the budget cap on, your tax levy, not on the total budget. We're using more fund balance and we have more grants.
Okay, thank you, but, I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy, right? Like, that math doesn't work, right? Like, you can't fund more, you can't fund a 3% bump with a 1% increase. And with inflation, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't work. So, and that's cool, like, something's gonna get cut. I think it would be useful for the community to see what the cuts are, to know what got cut. Right, like, it's like, okay, well, this department, we gotta lose 2 heads, or this, or that, like, I just think that would be a useful thing to see, because it would be useful for grants. The other thing that would be nice is, some of the stuff on the grants, which is great that we have people out getting grants. Which of those items are grant funded? Because grants tend to be pretty specific, so you could line that up. So to be able to see, like, nope, this is grant, and then what's actually funded, and that would be a pretty easy add to the assessment. I think it'd be useful for the community. So I really appreciate what you guys do. Budgets are a bear. I mean, that's rough, but clarification on how the math works, to me, would be useful, because that didn't make sense to me. Thank you.
The state budget form is going to be on the website and is open for public inspection.
Thank you.
Did
You can get a copy from the clerk's office.
I heard, yeah.
Hello, Pam Shaw, Branchville. I'm also pretty new to this, and one of the few good sides of this whole debacle in Washington is that it's bringing more people out to see what's going on. And I really appreciated the budget presentation a lot. I see how much work and effort is put into it, and it's been going on since August. In 2 months, what has the federal government done to the budgets? How much thought has gone into that? How much transparency has gone into that? Answer, nothing. It's random. Recent headline, Trump administration abruptly cuts billions from state health services. States have been told that they can no longer use grants that were funding infectious disease management and addiction services. So as somebody else said earlier, this all trickles down. Who's gonna pick up these programs? And I see we have a lot of these programs in the county already, and that's great, but how many more can we support locally? We're gonna lose a lot. I'm also here because I heard, and maybe it's just a rumor, but I heard that ICE was out in Sparta questioning people. Now, maybe they weren't, but just the fact that that is a plausible rumor and that some people actually like that information really bothers me as the daughter of a refugee. Came to America at a time when refugees and immigrants were welcomed. And it was realized that they are assets and not people who are gonna take away our jobs or whatever. President Trump said, when Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems. They're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. President Trump said that. Many studies have indicated both legal and undocumented immigrants commit crimes at lower rates than native-born Americans. A study published in the journal Criminology found that areas with higher immigrant populations experience lower rates of violent crime. The research suggested that immigrants contribute to community safety rather than detract from it. You had a resolution saying smoking is bad. How about a resolution saying that xenophobia is bad, or that racism is bad, and that we should embrace our new citizens, our new residents, whatever their legal status, because they're not here because they want to come here and be billionaires like Elon Musk. They're here because they're fleeing issues in their home countries. They don't want to disrupt their entire lives and make a perilous journey. They're here for the American dream. Where did that go? Where did our compassion go? Where did our inclusiveness go? I don't get it. Thank you.
Taylor Stevenson, Branchville. Being that I am one of the youngest people in this room today, at 18 years old, I feel a dire sense of responsibility to represent the people of my generation who don't feel like they have a voice here. The future of our community and the future of our country. Now, I know a lot of the people in this room today. I've grown up with your families. Commissioner Carney, I went to school with your sons, and I want to speak for all of us when I remind you that our lack of presence in local government is not to be mistaken for ignorance. We know what is going on in our country, and we are terrified. We've been raised in an environment saturated with hatred and violence and hopelessness. We've watched our elected leaders gamble away our liberties and put a price tag on our happiness. We've seen our corporations decide without hesitation that reaching their annual income quotas is more important than ensuring that their consumers are provided a habitable environment. We've gathered that we have no place in American politics because it's already been determined by our predecessors that we will have no sustainable future here. We have sat idly by while we watch those who claim to love us set us up for inevitable failure. Now, I know how difficult it is to stop and consider the future when our lives are constantly infiltrated by horror stories and fear-mongering. And I know that a lot of you here today have brought up a lot of great points about things that are frustrating you, but we must not allow the intensity of our emotions to vindicate irrational hatred and leave us vulnerable to exploitation by those who are greedy and power-hungry. This is not a matter of Democrat versus Republican. Political parties are a distraction, and they're here to ensure that the wealth gap between us and those in power is never bridged. Do not let them antagonize those whose voices are the key to a prosperous and unified society. We must not allow political leaders to convince us that general welfare is a privilege and that our unalienable rights are in a state to be politicized. Every American deserves to have a roof over their heads, clothes on their backs, and food on their table regardless of any other qualifying factors. Our government should not reserve the power to tell us that our humanity is not enough to qualify us for endurable living conditions. Do not let them convince you that in a system that's controlled by those who profit off of your disadvantages, that the extent of your success is a direct reflection of how hard you work. Every single person in this room is trying their best. Every person in this room is working hard. And we all deserve to have that same humanity. Now, for those of you who have taken the time to make it here today, do not assume that your responsibilities have been fulfilled by your mere presence here. I implore you all, do not stop here and do not forget about the future of your country and your community. Converse with those you disagree with and humanize them. Please do not approach your conversations with the goal of winning a one-sided argument. Approach it to understand. Thank you.
It's going to be hard to follow up. Sandy Pender, Newton. I want to start again by saying thank you for your service to the county and for allowing us to speak. I will say I'm disappointed that Commissioner Hayden is not here, particularly because he was sporting his I Heart Elon shirt, but maybe he'll watch the recording. I would like to talk about the Trump administration's cuts and effects it will have on our county and taxpayers. As the county financials were being discussed tonight, there are a few things I would like to put on the radar. The first is the direct impact of education cuts to our local schools. The Trump administration wants to eliminate the Department of Education and has already laid off 50% of its workforce. Using Kittatinny High School as an example, this district alone stands to lose upwards of $660,000 in federal funding. This is the amount that the district has budgeted for in this current school year. It is the amount of funding that they could lose next year. This federal funding supports students with disabilities, special education, low-income students, support and retention of instructional staff, STEM and AP programs, and dropout prevention. My question to you is, what is the plan to offset the loss of these federal funds for our schools? Another concern are cuts to Medicaid, which so many people in Sussex County depend on. 1 in 3 children in the state of New Jersey depend on Medicaid for their health care. Another population in our county that relies on Medicaid are those trying to recover from a substance use disorder. In many cases, Medicaid provides life-saving intervention and medications that help people stabilize while they progress into recovery. Other residents, such as the elderly, those with disabilities, and low-income residents would be hurt by cuts to Medicaid too. Again, what is the plan to offset cuts to Medicaid? The Trump administration has also slashed a large part of the workforce at NOAA. Sussex County has a huge agricultural economy. NOAA assists our farmers with forecasts, long-term climate prediction, and drought monitoring. NOAA personnel provide projections that guard against lower crop yields and crop loss. What assistance and funding will be available for county agriculture and farmers? Bottom line, these cuts in funding and experienced personnel will be felt. As our elected representatives, I ask you to be ready with plans to offset what we will lose. Finally, I believe that the chaos and dysfunction of this administration is causing everyday people to pull back and spend less. I know that has happened in our household, and I think it's important to consider this county-wide. As citizens pull back, small local businesses and restaurants will have to weather leaner times. We all want vibrant communities in our county. But the reality of the moment is that people are feeling uncertain, and unfortunately, local businesses will feel that. Thank you.
Good evening. David DeWitt, Hampton Township. Last time I was here, I asked you folks what was in your budget that you couldn't count on from state and federal government as pass-throughs. I'd still like to know the answer to that question. But this evening, I'd like to comment on the illegal freeze of grant monies that were already promised to non-governmental organizations throughout the country, as well as here in Sussex County. These funds were approved by Congress and agencies throughout our government. The freeze by itself is doing catastrophic damage throughout society. These NGOs have hired people, signed contracts, made purchases, expended funds, fully expecting the monies to come that were already promised. The promise of outright cancellation looms as a kiss of death for many of these charitable groups. Our non-governmental organizations are indeed the 1,000 points of light that George H.W. Bush offered as the historical Republican answer to supposedly wasteful government bureaucratic agencies. And yes, most of those groups are more efficient, are more cost-effective at doing their job than federal government. Well, the lights are about to go out on thousands of those charitable groups. I'm going to give you an example, and it's a small one because I know something about it. The USDA froze first and then outright canceled grants for programs such as the Farm to School Lunch programs, programs supporting locally sourced food pantries and distribution hubs, and assistance programs for local small farmers, which are catastrophic to our local farming community. It will leave our less fortunate students and our inhabitants hungry. According to Josh Gottheimer's information, the 5th Congressional District has 11 farmers directly impacted, and a majority of our Sussex County schools hurt by the consequences of this mindless action alone, and it's only $23 million. This is only one sad tale being told by hundreds of similar actions that are now taking place throughout our federal agencies. Way to go, MAGA. Make America great again. Hungry children and broke farmers. I urge each of you to speak up. Object to this travesty. Thank you.
I'm Ashton Vorick from Sparta, New Jersey. I went to my school's board meeting last Thursday. As I've been told by my superintendent, recently my school, Sussex County Technical School, has undergone some budget cuts because they didn't receive enough funding. This is affecting multiple programs, including my shop, graphic design, which they are now going to merge with commercial arts next year if the budget doesn't improve. I want to state that clearly, graphic and commercial arts are not the same. They are similar, but commercial arts is the illustration created for a certain commercial purpose, while graphic design includes posters, packaging, and logos, like the one behind all of you right now. Of course, this is important to me because it involves my school and my future. I want my school to receive the funding that it needs and not have budget cuts. Some of my friends went to graphic design or were planning to go to graphic design before it was cut. Graphic design has always been important to me. It's what I've always wanted to do. It's my dream job, and I would like to have the opportunity to keep my dream program alive. Graphic design provides our school with all of its printed materials and other services, but beyond that, I fear that other programs might be cut because of budget as well. Late buses, as well as the theater program, have already been cut. However, this is not just about me or my education, or even about graphic design. It is about my friends, my community, their education, and their future, and the other programs that may be cut if funding does not increase. So I come to you, the commissioners, to ask for more funding for our school so that the students of Sussex Tech can have a brighter future. I know that it might not be a top priority, and there might not be that much funding, but I think funding will be worthwhile for everyone at Sussex Tech now and in the future. Or at least that's what my superintendent told me. I've been told differently since I came
Hi, my name is Nick DiFabrizio, Augusta, New Jersey. As I mentioned the last time I was here, I've been practicing law for 40 years, and half in the private sector and half representing public finance. So I know a little bit about your job and what you do and how difficult it is. By the way, I just want to say, if the young people that spoke here today are indicative of the kids in Sussex County, we're doing a pretty good job teaching them, because these kids they were more eloquent than most of the lawyers I know. I mean, that was really amazing. I'm very, very impressed by that, and I don't think I could stand up here and be as eloquent, even though I've been practicing it for 40 years. So there's been a lot said here, and I don't really want to add much to it, because I know how difficult your job is, and I know you don't have answers for what's happening at the federal level. But it does seem to me to be apparent that the federal government is pushing down obligations to the state and then the counties and local governments. I mean, that's clear, that's the plan. Whether we agree with that or not, that is what we're going to be living with for the next couple of years. How much that happens depends on how the courts and Congress act in response, but it's going to be quite a bit. And I realize it's far too soon for you guys to have answers for that, and I don't have the specific answers. But what I do know is that in times like this, there's a premium to be paid for working well with the state government and with our congressional leaders in Washington. And I know that that's not always easy, because they can be difficult, and they tend to want to push things down to you as well. But I think that the next year in particular is going to be very important to have a good working relationship with our state government, as we're bringing in a new governor at the same time. But we know that most of the people at the state will be the same, and I think it's really good to reach out to them and start to develop a good relationship so that we can work together to deal with who is going to do what and how we're going to deal with reduced amounts of federal funding.
1 minute.
And then I also think it's very important that our congressional leaders, Josh Gottheimer, our 2 senators, are involved as well. And we, all of us, and you should be willing to reach out to them whenever you can, and to pull their chain a bit, because we need them to be our representatives. Because there's going to be a fight for dollars among states, among counties within the state, and it's unfortunate, but we're going to have to fight it. And so that's my only advice here. And keep your heads up and get some sleep when you can. I know it's going to be difficult. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Don Vorik. I'm from Sparta, New Jersey. I had not intended to speak tonight, but I'm inspired by all the people that came before me, and I certainly don't anticipate off the cuff to do better than they have all done. But I did want to stand behind them and add my vote. I especially like this last gentleman who had some clear visions about what's going to be falling down on your head because of the changes at the federal level. And I'm here to support you, and that was why I hadn't intended to speak, because I really don't think any of this is your fault. But I do, since this has turned into a gripe session, I'm gonna add my gripe as well. I am, as everyone else has said here, alarmed by what is happening at the federal level, and especially alarmed by Musk and Trump in particular, and Musk kind of double with his with his chainsaw approach. And the thing that strikes me on the federal level and in the country as a whole is that dishonesty is not hidden anymore. It is out. They announced the fact that, okay, we're gonna tamper with the Constitution a little bit here. We're gonna cut here. We're gonna violate people's rights and cut them without the 90 days notice that law is required. It is very frightening to me, especially here with the legal group, that you are not going to have the tools of legality on your side. So that is very frightening to me. Then to kind of put a point on it with Musk, if there's a bird flu, cut the farm programs that keep track of it. If there's tornadoes and climate, cut the NOAA and all the weather agencies. And if there's for every problem, the answer seems to be to cut the agency responsible for it. Even the pandemic, we're cutting all the health organizations to kind of get ready to have a worse pandemic next, and the outbreak of measles, et cetera. Anyway, like I said, I didn't have anything planned, but I guess I'm a good blabber because I seem to have filled my 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
John Snyder, Sanderson Township. One of our speakers tonight mentioned living in a democracy. I don't live in one. I don't want to live in one. I live in a republic that gives me rights, gives me the ability to come up here and speak my piece. Those who believe in a democracy, there's a movie made in the early 40s with Henry Fonda called The Oxbow Incident. The Oxbow Incident, 98% of the town is convinced that they just caught 3 rustlers who killed a local a rancher. That's all I'll say about it, but the democracy would have been, let's bring them up. Majority rules. I don't want that. I don't want the majority to rule on everything. We have a Bill of Rights. I have my rights as a citizen, and I want to feel protected. I'm 78 years old. I don't want New Jersey to come up with some resolution and say, oh, you can't drive after age 75, or you can't drive a pickup truck. Mr. Snyder, why do you have a pickup truck? You don't need that. You could drive around on a little Fiat. And if the majority votes for it in a democracy, I'm out of luck. As somebody mentioned tonight, I think I wrote the words down, Trump must be stopped. That's the kind of language that leads people to take shots at Donald Trump, and I'm talking literally shots. I wonder how many people in this room are relieved that it just grazed the side of his head there, or were they wishing maybe it was a little closer to the target? I understand that Mr. Musk is going against waste and fraud at the federal level. They've got people collecting Social Security. I forget what the number is. We've heard it's over millions, over 100 years old.
Please let him speak.
Do not interrupt. Nobody interrupted anybody else when they were talking. Don't do it to him.
And I think just today he came out with I'm not sure if it's an executive order or not, requiring proof of citizenship to vote in a federal election. I believe we should have photo ID for every election, but at least he's starting to do something at the federal level. Someone else, the young lady, spoke fairly eloquently about the future of our country not looking good. All you have to do is look at the federal debt. I believe the last number I heard was 35 trillion. Ronald Reagan warned us about 40 years ago when it was approaching 2 trillion. And now that we're 35, the stuff that we're looking at right now, the room that we're in, the government that you guys run, it could be gone in 2 or 3 years. A loaf of bread, $400. I mean, it's happened to places like Venezuela, where I understand a few years ago people were chewing shoe leather at a country that was really, really very prosperous, very modern, and not a nice place to be now. Thank you very much.
Is that all? Okay. Seeing no one else, can I get a motion to close the floor for public comments, return to regular business?
So moved.
Second. Commissioner DeGroot, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
abstained, carries. Number 23, reminders, please check the county's website, www.sussex.nj.us for meeting schedules. Number 24 is executive session. This is a closed session. Christina, would you read that, please?
Resolution providing for an executive closed session not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12 et sec, whereas the subject matter about to be discussed may be excluded from the public portion of the meeting by resolution of the Board of County Commissioners as an exception to the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, and whereas it appears necessary for the Board of County Commissioners to discuss such matter in executive session. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Sussex, in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12B and NJSA 10:4-13, that the Board at this time enter into an executive session from which the public shall be excluded, and be it further resolved that the general nature of the subject to be discussed relates to the following item authorized by NJSA 10:4-12B as designated below. Item number 7, matters relating to litigation, negotiations, and the attorney-client privilege, Collins litigation. Be it further resolved that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon determination of the Sussex County Board of County Commissioners or provided by law, that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality, and be it further resolved that upon completion of the business for which the board has entered into the executive session, the board shall reconvene and resume its meeting open to the public. And be it further resolved that the board does not expect to take formal action after. You may? Okay. That the board may take formal action after returning from executive session, except to adjourn the regular meeting. You're up.
Can I get a motion to adopt executive session resolution and enter into executive session?
So moved.
Commissioner DeGroot, have a second?
Second?
Director Space, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carries. Thank you all for coming. Get home safe. If you want to stay, it'll be 20 minutes, half an hour.
Mics are still live. Mics are live.